Hello, my name is Minha Lee, and I'm a master's student from KAIST, Korea. This work was done together with my co-authors Wonyoung Park, Sunok Lee, and Sangsu Lee. In this work, we try to learn about remote workers' troubled working experiences while video conferencing, especially distracting experiences over the past 2 years, and also reveal the user's needs at that troubled moment. As you all already know, from the end of 2019, COVID-19 pandemic has forced workers around the world to switch their working paradigms from on-site to video-mediated communication. So people needed an alternative means to continue their usual various working activities without physical contact, and most of them chose remote work system with video conferencing. However, what we focus on is that billions of workers have encountered a new working paradigm of interacting with others via software interfaces in real time with no preparation. And that makes a lot of problems. So, in particular, many people have come to work in their living space or public space without a place optimized for video conferencing, and also various problems caused by the mingling of daily life with work often interfere with people's future work. For example, people living with their families were disrupted by their family members, and someone was distracted because there's no separate space from the living space. And like the last picture, sometimes we had online meetings together in the same space, and at that situation, we often face technical issues such as audio feedback. So, among the various troubled situations users experienced, we decided to focus on the user's distractions. And here's my research questions. First is what types of distractions do people encounter during video conferencing? And also, how should it be designed to improve the user's video conferencing experience in such situations? Based on these two research questions, our research aims to explore users' pain points and unmet needs by analyzing the difficulties people have experienced while using video conferencing tools over the past 2 years, and to discover design opportunities that provide a better video conferencing experience. We conducted a focus group interview to explore the types of problematic situations participants experienced during video conferences and to understand the ways they affected their work experience over the past 2 years. Subsequently, we conducted a participatory design workshop in which participants directly ideated solutions to derive the main needs from a user-centered perspective. And an important task to achieve the goal of this study was to find an effective way to elicit the video conferencing experience that participants had accumulated over the past 2 years. So we constructed the user study process carefully, using several strategies to stimulate them to recall their experience. To investigate various video conferencing experiences, we recruited remote workers who had more than 50 work experiences using video conferencing platforms in 2 years and shared both workspace and living space with others, making it difficult to secure a private space for video conferencing. We used a screening survey to gather their basic information for this study, and we selected participants using two criteria expected to enhance the sample's richness. First, variations in age and job, and second, more experience with video conferencing tools. So finally, these 18 remote workers were participated in our study. As a qualitative analysis method for our study, we used the Straussian grounded theory, and 167 samples of distracted experiences were finally used in our analysis. These samples were categorized into 5 primary categories and 13 secondary categories of distracting factors. We set the source of disturbance as primary categories and the main characteristics that cause the user's distractions for each source as secondary categories. And then finally, we structured a unified framework of distracting experiences during video conferencing in Table 2 and reported our findings and implications for our framework's distracting factors in this paper. The 5 primary categories of distracting factors are: first, people and pets in the same physical environment; second, other people engaged in the same video conferencing; and third, environment around the user while video conferencing; and fourth, usability of the video conferencing platform; and last one is performance of the device executing the video conference. In this paper, we mainly discuss about these distracting factors and related problematic experiences. And also we suggest some design directions and research agenda based on the unmet user needs. A key finding was that users considered mitigating the negative consequences of facing problematic situations as important as preventing distracting situations from occurring during video conferencing. Users are aware that there are unavoidable obstacles such as responsibilities to family roles or unpredictable network instability, and they need ways to solve or alleviate problem situations in advance of their occurrence. And various interference factors distracted users during video conferencing, but among them, the interference of sound was the most critical problem for users. This is because video conferencing is highly dependent on sound. So, as the work environment harmonizes with daily life, more diverse noise sources than ever before are affecting video conferencing users. Moreover, for a better video conferencing experience, these systems should provide immediate notifications to help improve the user's experiences rather than requiring the user's attention without prior support. In addition, it is necessary to recommend that users employ updated functions through continuous guidance so they can fully enjoy the advantages of the active video conferencing market. Thank you for your attention.